hang out?
Don't know yet.
Well, you heard wrong, man. We're Eve nerds. There are no cool people here.
Can we be like the cool nerds of the nerds?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Cooler nerd?
Cooler nerds. All right, I'll give you that one. Cool adjacent nerds. We'll go with that.
FC, are we there yet?
Don't make me leave you behind in high sec, man. I'll leave you in the scary space.
I was just in it and frat space, so I don't know what would be worse.
I don't know, man. High sec puppies could be pretty bad.
They're mostly harmless.
It's fair enough. So we are. This is a lot of jumps today, guys. So I trying to get some sites for you guys to see. My first set, I kid you not, was like 400 jumps. I'm like, okay, nobody's gonna do that. Um, I managed to trim it down with our jump bridge network to about 100 and something. The first one we're gonna do is in um, HiSec, so it's in Amar where it's the Kriba Memorial kind of piece or the Kriba statue. Um, if your sec status is bad and you cannot sit in high sec, I will give you a destination on the other side for the next piece, and you guys can just chillax in low sec while we go out there. Once you got your frigate, make sure like an interceptor, anything that's frigate hull is fine, guys. Interceptors would work really well for this, but anything that's a frigate hull is fine. We are literally looking at 100+ jumps. I'm not making that up. So you got to have something that goes fast today. Shuttles, I strongly recommend against shuttles, just because we are going to be going through low sec, and we could get smart bombed, and so I, don't want you guys to get potted out there. Monty, Huron's fine. Yeah, anything that's frigate hull sized. So T1 frigate hull or interceptors, anything like that. We're gonna hold here in CJ for just a moment. I did put the first desto. That is the low sec high sec border system near Amar. So uh, we'll give everybody a chance to get in, get undocked, and do all those kind of things, and then we'll head out here in just a minute or two. There is a strat up timer in about 40 minutes. I was talking to the command team earlier. We will not make it back for that timer. There's no way we're going to make it back for that. So if you want to go and do some strat pap work today, don't go on this fleet. We will not be back in time for that. You could, listen is a thing, all that kind of stuff. We'll give everybody another couple minutes, then we'll get going here. Um, oh, I'm like the most terrible showman there ever was. I did post for those of you who may have missed any of the Meet the Directors Gate Camp stuff yesterday. I did post all of those last night. Let me get the link for that. I'll put it in the MOTD if you guys want to see those.
Wait, stranger, there is a wormhole that cuts his throat. From 20 to 13 jumps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. If you want to dig it, I'm not opposed to that. Um, it's one of those things of like I thought about doing wormhole mapping with it, and I'll be honest, I'm lazy and don't want to deal with it. Frigates move fast enough. That's a difference of like 3 minutes. If we were doing anything heavier than a Frigate, I would absolutely take you up on that, man.
And also, yeah, current road. Is it going through Prancer? Yeah. I'm kinda living I was living in area that we are going to, so yes, there might be some smart bombers on the way.
Oh yeah, this is a very real risk here, guys. That's why I mean, do not take a shuttle with this. This is a very real risk that there will be a smart bomber somewhere along this route. We're going to pass through low sec in a couple of places. Walter, there's no way to know what the minimum HP you need on that because we don't know how many of them are going to be there. If there's just one, frigates generally will survive that. Shuttles don't. If there's 10 of them, then they'll kill any frigate. Yep, that's why we're saying, blank pods, triple, double, super check your pod, and then we'll get going here in fuck it, we're in frigates. Let's just go. All right, go ahead and align to the jump bridge. We're gonna free burn to try and minimize tie-dye when we hit high sec. Normally, I don't think we're gonna hit it with only 45 of us, but high sec. So go ahead and free burn to the desto in the MOTD. When you get to that low sec system, we'll just assemble on one of the stations. There's a couple of stations in there.
Guys, FC, the interceptor Crusader should be okay, isn't it?
I like the interceptor for it, but it needs to be a frigate. Yeah, destroyers are too slow, man. We will
slow.
absolutely leave you behind. It needs to be a frigate.
Shuttle?
You're risking smart bomb death, man.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, if you want to spend some money, a pacifier is a good way to do it. I mean, I know we obviously already left, but pacifiers are fast.
Are we just free burning the whole?
Yeah, we'll free burn out to Hula. Just call it Hula Hoop. And once you get out to that system, right, that's going to be on the border of high sec. We're going to meet up on the station there. There's a couple of stations in that system. We'll just meet up there. So, yep, go ahead and free burn out to Hula. It's in the MOTD for the fleet. Comms are totally open there, guys. Like I said, this is a see the sights, jibber jabber, chit chat, all that kind of stuff. So, no worries on that. We're obviously not a combat fleet of any kind.
Ranger question.
Shoot, man.
You lived in high sec?
I did when I first started playing, yes.
So my mistake was I was 3 days old when I was recruited by a nullsec corp. Had no idea what I was doing. I ended up 3 months later. I ended up in high sec
there is a
and
heretic in CL TAC that's dropping bubbles just to be clear.
Yeah, watch the bubbles there, guys. In CL TAC, I just went past them.
Those bubbles were in CL?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I got a nullifier, so. Yeah, so I started in high sec myself just as a, mission runner, miner, they just died in a wool high sec puppy. I lived out in Galanti space near Old Man Star. If you guys know.
Oh yes, absolutely. I lived in Fliet. It's just 2 jumps over. I mean, in Losec.
Yep. So we had a base right near there. I'm honestly spacing the name of the system now. It's been too many years since I lived there. joined another player corp that actually lived in Minmatar space out in Bar Creek, which is not too far from Heck. I spent most of my
Okay.
time there in Bar Creek, and then from there moved into Wormhole space. Lived in Wormhole space for a little while. Some drama llama in the corp that I was in at the time, and then founded my own corp, and I joined a Nullsec Alliance. And from that point, I basically always lived in Nullsec.
There you go. I'll tell you what, living in a wormhole, you certainly find out how big and empty a Mars space is.
Yeah, we lived in an old Wolf Rat system. But wormholes were brand new. The W space stuff was brand new. None of the trackers or cool sites existed now. So, for those who don't know, a Wolf Rat system is an armor tank system. It's something that does really well with armor tank things. Well, we had no idea what we were doing, and the flavor of holes at the time were shield tank drakes, and that's what we took in there. Because we had no idea what we were doing. And now, or subsequently to that, around 2015, 2016, all of those cool sites came up. Like you jump in, right? You get the J number, and you just put it into the old wormhole sites, and it would tell you, okay, it's got this kind of a static. It's got these kinds of buffs. Like none of that shit existed back then. This was late 2009, early 2010. None of that stuff was a thing.
Nice. The good old days.
Yeah, it was the time when you could go into a wormhole system and not just expect to instantly fucking die. Like you could actually go in and do it. We were a super small corp. There was like 6 of us, 7 of us in the wormhole. That was like it. And we did fine for quite a while.
Yeah.
I say we didn't actually get evicted. We evicted ourselves because there was so much drama in the corp. We had to leave. Like the corp was going through an internal schism, and so it just wasn't supporting it.
It happens.
Yeah, I've been through it a couple of times in my Eve career.
Never fun.
It tends not to be. Yeah, it tends to be a full shit show when it happens.
Personalities collide. I mean,
Yeah, Hola is the desto. It's going to be right on the HiSec border. It'll be literally the border system to HiSec for our first destination there.
the Bleak Lands. Sounds attractive.
Yeah.
Some region names got kinda cool.
Yeah.
Some are just
Yeah, you could tell CCP, whoever was doing it, like they just hit the random letter generator sometimes. And sometimes you can tell, oh, they put some actual thought into this.
What year did you start playing Ranger?
Technically 2008, but I had no idea what I was doing and stopped for like a year. So the reality is 2009. So 16 and a quarter years. It was like September or something like that of 2009.
That was
A fair
very
bit of change over the time.
That's about the first time I took my first winning Eve break.
Yeah, I've never really done a winning Eve break with it, so I played pretty much continuously for 16 years. I've had a couple of times, like vacations or when I was moving or something like that. It's like step away for a week or something, 2 weeks, or I was really ill in 2020, so I was away for a couple of months, but that was just because I was in the hospital and couldn't get on, literally physically could not do it.
Now we're going through an Angel incursion.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, there was one in the first low sec system's name. I don't remember. Started with a T.
Tidafowan or something. Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say Tidafowan, but whatever. I don't know.
that's it.
What do those incursions do? I've been away from the game and I missed that.
It's a faction warfare kind of a thing. I'll admit I have not paid any attention. Does anybody have a better answer than I
Is
fucking
it
don't know.
like a
I've
normal
I've been
incursion?
doing this for like last 2 or 3 years. So yeah. And
Yeah,
yeah,
so like what is it?
these systems, I have to warn you, these systems can have bubbles if they are corrupted. So basically, you have like beacons in space that you have to like gated that plexus that you have to sit in for 10 or 15 minutes killing small waves of threats, and in the end you get LP payout. It's a decent income and quite cheap, and also a lot of like small PvP, but yeah, couldn't compare to crabbing, let's say.
Okay.
But just as kind of like a quick plug, the Goon Incursion Squad that does the Sanctuary incursions in our space is always looking for people. Check out the SIG.
That's
Yeah.
good ISK too.
Yeah, incursions are good, and it's a good way to learn to use. We were actually talking about this yesterday. It's a good way to learn to use fighters with your carrier. That's a group that uses them pretty regularly.
And if you're nervous about getting into PvP fleets, incursions are a good step to learning how to work with a fleet.
And Logi.
Yep,
Yeah.
that too.
So how do you run incursions? Just carriers and
No, battleships, carriers, Logi. You have Huggins for DPS for applying for drones and applying damage, and there are some newbie frigates for new players.
Yeah, if you
Sorry,
go,
not frigates, cruisers, and then T1 battleship. It's like the Abaddon, I think.
Yeah, literally anybody can get into it.
Yeah, you can
Alright.
just join day zero if you just not even you don't have tech 2 armor tank, no problem. You will
Yeah, if you-
probably
if you-
die, but you make more money than just replacing a ship.
if you go to the forums and check out the SIG on there, there's all kinds of info. The SIG has its own Discord, and you can make some pretty good money doing it too.
All right, guys. Once you get into Hula, just where there's multiple stations in the system, there's multiple NPC stations. Just like warp out to one at 100. Align to the outbound gate. We're just gonna assemble everybody there. I'm gonna move into HiSec and get set up so that you guys can warp right to me, and we'll make this a little bit easier. But just assemble there in Hula. We've got 40-something people in the fleet, so when there's about 40 or so purples in local, let me know. If your sex status is just terrible and you cannot sit in HiSec without, the FAC police or Concord killing you, I'm going to update the MOTD and I will give you guys a separate destination, which is going to be the low sex system, just a few jumps out. So as long as you align and warp, you'll be fine. FAC police won't hit you with a frigate like that. Just don't diddle dally on a gate.
You gotta love a 5.0 then, don't you?
Rudy, are we going to Jita? No, there was actually something I was going to take you guys up to that was near there. Actually, it was up to the old Titan that was in orbit around the Kaldari homeworld. But when I looked at how many jumps I was going to have you guys do anyways, I'm just like, no, I'm not going to string you guys all the way through that much.
What about TTT Memorial?
That was something like I was going to do those things, but that's, again, I already had so many jumps on this that I decided not to. These things are spread out all over the place. At 100 and something jumps already, to go up there to do that would be like 20 so more. It's a bummer, man. Don't get me wrong, but it's just one of those things. Yeah. Reckless. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but yes, we are going to go out to Steve's wreck. We're going to do that on the way back home.
If you want, I can tell you about how that destroyed an alliance.
Give me a second here, guys. I'm just getting into Amar, which is our first location. So give me a moment to like get set up, and then we'll get going.
Yeah, it doesn't look like everybody's quite here yet anyway.
Yep, and no worries. I know we're going to be strung out a little bit. We kind of did that on purpose. I'm going to update the MOTD for the fleet, like I said, with 2 destinations. So if your sec status is fine to be in high sec, you're going to come to me in Amar. And if you're not, you're going to go to a low sec system. So I will update those right now.
We are 28 strong in Hula.
Okay. Once we get to, like I said, there's 41 people in fleet. Obviously, I'm here. So when we get to 30 plus, let me know.
Yeah, we don't know how many took the other route too.
We're at 32 now.
Yeah. Oh, so, you know, split staging is absolutely a thing, or split routes is absolutely a thing.
And we had a bubble casualty.
Okay. How many have we got in the system now?
33. Couple of neutral.
Yeah, 3 neutrals, so 30 of us are here.
Okay. Sounds good. In fleet, put in how many jumps you guys are out. I'll say if you're not in Hula right now, put in how many jumps you are. 3 jumps, 4 jumps. Okay, that's not too bad. 4, perfect. All right, we'll go ahead and push everybody forward. So if you are good to sit in high sec, we're going to Amar. Once you're in, you can just warp directly to me. I'm on the monument. I've pulled in for each of these. I'll have a little description thing for you guys about the monument of who and what happened there. This is for Kriba. We'll talk about Kriba here. I never actually met the man, but I do know who he is. If your sex status is terrible, go to Ami. There's a couple of stations there that you can dock up, and we'll collect you on the way through. You're just going to be a couple of jumps on the other side of Amar. So once again, once you get into there, just go ahead and free burn either to Amar, and then you can warp to me, or to Ami if your sex status won't let you sit in high sec, and then we'll push on from there. Yeah, so the story of Kriba, he is the guy with the Veld knot. Yes, that is Kriba. So Kriba was a very well-known player who had just ton of money, and he was highly respected and trusted. He was one of the original brokers for super carriers and Titans, because you had to build them with a pause. So Sonic, go ahead with the new thing, either into Amar, or if your sex status is terrible, go to Ami. So Kriba was a guy who would broker it. And so what you would do, because there were no keep stars and you couldn't dock supers or titans at an NPC station, you would build them in a pause. You had to store them in a pause. They were known as the coffin hulls. And you would buy one. So this is the way that it would go. So if I wanted a Titan, let's just say, I don't trust the person who's making it because I don't know who this person is. So I get in touch with Kriba. I say, hey, Kriba, will you be a broker for this sale of a Titan? And he says, yes. I don't know what he charged for it, but he would say yes. And I would say, okay, I'm going to send you the money for the Titan. And he would hold the money. And then we would both go to wherever this pause was that had the ship. who the builder would like kick the Titan out, give you the password for it, or eject it. I don't know how they would do it. Like I said, I never dealt with him directly. I would jump into the Titan, and then Cribber would pay the builder. That's what he did. He did a lot of that with supers and with Titans because you just couldn't physically dock them anywhere. He had one of the handful of dreadnoughts. There was just a little handful. You used to be able to, back in the day, you could build dreadnoughts in HiSec. You couldn't jump into HiSec with them, but you could build them in HiSec. And so if it was built in a system, it stayed in that system. And if you jumped it out, you could not come back. He had a dreadnought, it was a Revelation, in Amarr, and he refit it with mining lasers. I shit you not. He put mining lasers in the high slots of this thing and turned it into the Veldknot. And he would mine Veldspar in the Amarr system with a dreadnought. And you know, nobody ever touched him or anything. He was always in an NPC corpse. You couldn't war deck him. And you're sure as hell are not ganking a dreadnought in HiSec in a 1.0 system. That's not fucking happening.
That's amazing.
So those are, you know, his two really, and he did a whole bunch of other stuff. He hasn't passed away or anything like that, so this is not a memorial. It's a monument to him when he won Eve. But he's just going around and doing everything. Oh, really? Somebody's got his dread?
Yeah, someone poked me with a screenshot of Kriba mining in Amarr, like when the mining changes were out. It was like, hey, I was just in Amarr buying stuff and check who I found. Oops.
Wow, I thought he had totally won Eve.
Same.
Damn, I haven't actually seen him in years. I mean, it was before COVID was the last time I really saw anything from him, like Eve events and meetups and, you know, all those kind of things.
When was the coronation event?
For the Amarr Empress, the big in-game event.
Because I think he brought it out during that.
Yeah, it would have been around this same kind of time. It was before COVID. It would have been like 17, 18, 16, something like that, man. I honestly don't remember that date, but it was before COVID. I mean, it was before Vietnam, it was before COVID, it was before all of that, but I don't remember the date exactly. I remember the event because it was a huge in-game thing, and the live events team has been defunct for quite a while now, which is a shame because they did some cool shit.
And you can even mine Veldspar here in his honor.
Yep. Yeah, they did all this kind of stuff. So if you look at the little blurb that I put in the fleet for you guys, it's got details and everything like that on it. For each of the sites we're going to, I'm going to link that in the fleet for it so that you can see kind of what it is. Some of these I do have experience with, like here with Kriba. A couple of them I don't because they predate me with some of the things. When we go out to see Steve's wreck, that predates me, but we've got someone who said that he will tell us the story on it. I know the story like 10th hand, you know, having read news reports and blurbs and things, but I was not involved in that one. Okay, we're gonna get ready to start moving there. So I see a couple people are still warping in. Once you're ready, go ahead and align to the outgate. Just align, grab your screenshots or anything like that. We'll stick around for another minute or two, and then we'll start heading to the next desto. Is there anybody who is not here with us? Oh, yeah, I saw you.
What's the next outgate?
Sorry, what's our desto?
And I didn't link the desto in there because I'm just that good. Do the desto to Ami. We'll swing through there and grab everybody. The outgate is Corazor. Yeah, so outgate guys is Corazor. If you just set the desto to Ami, which I've got in the MOTD, good enough because that's literally on the route. But we'll just hold there. If you're done, you can head out to Ami. I'm gonna stick around for the guys who are just a little bit behind. And then we're gonna have a slog to the next one. It's about 20 jumps from here to the next desto. Oh, okay. Is anybody still headed to Amar, or is everybody heading towards Ami right now? Okay, a couple people still. All right, we'll hold in here for you. One final story for Cribba there. I saw he was giving a talk at Eve Down Under years and years ago, and he actually has the word Veldspar tattooed on his arm.
Wow. Dedication.
Yeah, he really leaned into it. I mean, he's a super good guy from every interview and everything that I've ever seen about him. Like I said, I never actually met him, but he's a super good guy.
Back in the day, he was literally the most famous person in Eve.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
And the most famous for being the nicest guy in Eve, too. Like, he would help people out in local all the time. Like, if you were a noob and wanted to go out mining with him, he'd go with you.
Yeah, he was a super good guy. So, yeah, I know, I hear you. If you want to help with that, set your safety to green.
That guy looked like a smart bomber.
Possible.
Where is that in Ami itself?
In Ami, there is
Yeah,
a,
yeah.
a flashing red.
Let's kill him and look at his fit.
Okay, how many people are still on their way to Amar? So put an X in fleet if you're still on the way to Amar. Okay, I am going to head to Ami, and then we'll grab you, and I'll reset the MOTD for the next desto.
So how many of these neutrals are doing a quick clinch because of the 40 goons jumped in?
Honestly, probably not that many because they don't see us as any more dangerous than anybody else, right? Because most of them won't have goons set red, but
That's fair. And there's no war between us, so yeah.
okay, so our next desto here is to New Eden itself. This is the founding lore gate of Eve. Dead End and Promised Land, they're all in the same area. They're just a couple of jumps, so we'll look at them. We'll go out to the Monolith, we'll go out to the Violet Wormhole, but we're going to head to New Eden next. So everybody wants to just free burn from wherever you are to New Eden itself.
You would laugh, but I lived there as well for 2 weeks.
Why? There is nothing in that constellation.
No, not in the like New Eden itself. Like
in Genesis.
all yeah, few jumps like in that pocket.
Because that constellation, I went there multiple times, and because of lore, there is nothing. There is no agents, no nothing, no belts.
There were people living here with me. Like I think they had Astra who's there and did something, but like not in that constellation. Constellation that leads to that.
Yeah, the one that's out from it. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ranger, are we going to Ulai?
I was going to, but just like the perimeter thing, it was adding too many jumps. Seriously, my first plan of this was like 400 jumps, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I remember when I remember when Yulai was Jita. It was even bigger than Jita.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I wanted to go out there because of that, but it just I forgot how far away these are from our new home. Like when we were living in Delve, it would have been super easy
Yeah.
because a lot of these are actually on the western side of Eve.
July was the first market hub, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, all the empires met at Yulai, and it was like a super highway through. So basically, like you'd go to Yulai, there'd be thousands of people in that. Even back when there were only thousands of people playing the game.
Yeah, they cut off that route, didn't they?
Yeah, they did a whole storyline behind it to break up the
Yeah.
superhighway. It was causing too much lag, probably.
Yeah,
Upgrade your servers.
Yeah, it was when the Noir incident occurred with the supercarrier, and he rammed the Yulai station, kicking off the faction warfare stuff. That was all tied into that.
Yeah.
Rudian, yeah. So current Desto is the New Eden one. Basically, we'll go into New Eden, and then we'll do Dead End, because you actually pass through Dead End to get to New Eden. And then we'll go to Promised Land, which is this little side jump thing near Dead End. But those three are right together. They're within a couple of jumps.
Did you guys ever read the books on those events?
I mean, I have read some of the books, so I don't know which event you're talking about specifically.
Oh, the Yulai event.
There's a book.
Carrier and shit.
I have not read that one. I've seen just the videos and stuff that have been made about it. The big couple of books that I've read on it were dealing with other points in time. So like they referenced Yulai and they referenced the incident, but it wasn't actually about the incident.
Uh-huh.
I was
Isn't the
there.
Yulai
So
our calendar year as well?
Yes. Yeah, it's actually based on when CCP turned the servers on, but yes, it is the Yulai calendar. That's why it's what is it, YCF, something like that. Yeah, it's based on Yulai.
So Yulai happened when Eve was turned on.
So when I say that piece, like the YCF stuff is based on when the servers left alpha and beta, and they were stopped wiping everything. So the
Became
official
production.
Yeah, the official birthday of it is what is time 0 on it, which is why Eve's birthday is not on it. New Year's or anything like that. It's in March? No, May. I think it's in May. Whatever. Whenever that was, that's when they finished doing all the wipes and doing all that. For anybody who was around for the alpha stuff, like you'd be playing it for a few weeks, as is typical with an alpha game, and then they destroy all your progress because they do a server wipe.
Right. Start it over. More
Yep,
testing.
So this is when they stopped doing those server wipes and the game went full commercial production kind of stuff.
Yep. And so we have a Yulai festival.
Yep, so there's a Yulai festival, because Yulai in the lore was the place where like Concord was really founded. It's where all the empires came together to be
Right.
dicks, basically. And then one of their commanders of it was a Nyx class supercarrier, rammed the Yulai station as a giant fuck you, and that kicked off the faction war.
There you go.
expansion.
Apparently, according to the books, it wasn't the general who did it or the admiral who did it.
Yeah. It was, his name was. I've heard it pronounced so many different ways, but it's like either Noir or Noir or something. I've heard people say it with French, pronunciation accents, and then I've
Noir.
heard people say it without it, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
According to the books, it was some shady character who took over his clone and killed him, and then drove the carrier into the station.
That I don't remember. The videos and stuff at the time did not say that. They may be that they've expanded that in the lore in the books.
I think it was retconned in the books.
It could
to
totally
be that.
Yep, could totally be, man. Yeah, so the system names out here in this area, CCP put some, like, they didn't just random mash, generate the names. These are actual, like, names and things that have the history to them.
Exit, gateway, access, central point.
Well, the
I
lore
think
is
we're
that
approaching something.
this is where we came, like, to New Eden from the Milky
Right.
Way.
Yeah,
Yep.
from Earth. Yeah, so this was where the original wormhole from Earth deposited everybody, and they named it New Eden. The system was called New Eden, and then they spread out from there. Uh, and so the lore goes that when the New Eden gate collapsed, or sorry, when the New Eden wormhole collapsed, most of the colonies were not self-sufficient, and they basically backslid into the medieval caveman dark ages kind of stuff, depends on which group you were with. And then the Jovians were the first ones to reemerge with spacefaring technology, and then after that came the rest of the empires. But the Jove were the first ones, which is why their ships were so powerful and why CCP was based in the Jovian area. Because they were supposed to be, like, the lore on the CCP is like they're supposed to be the descendants of the Jovians, and so they've got all their cool shit. It's why you can't hurt their ships, when they're flying around. Even if you can target and lock them up, you cannot nuke them. You can't really damage them. It's because they're supposed to be Jove tech. They've not really leaned into that lore in years, but that's the history behind it.
I don't remember who it was, but back in the day, somebody spent like 3 weeks trying to fly into the wormhole.
Yes, I remember that story as well. I could not tell you their name. You can't actually do it. It's across like some kind of a weird grid boundary line that you can't actually do it. You can't reach it. But people have tried. Okay, once you get into New Eden, if you go out, I just jumped in there. I'm going to warp out to it. If you go out to the Eve Gate Joint Research Complex.
This is new.
No, this has been here for a little while. I mean, a couple of years. I don't know when they put it in. The Astra House that's in the system is relatively new-ish.
No, the research complex was not here when the last time I did the pilgrimage. It was like probably 5 years ago.
It was for me the last time I did it, but I honestly don't remember how long ago that has been. So if you warp out to that Eve Gate Joint Research Complex, just spin your camera and you will see the Eve Gate wormhole. It's right here on this grid. It's not something that I can warp you to or we can warp out to, but if you just spin your camera, you will see it. Yep, there's a drifter hole in here as well. So the lore basically goes that the Joves were the first civilization to reemerge with spacefaring technology. The drifters are an offshoot of the Jovians. And so that's where that came from. But if you guys have your graphics set on potato mode for this, I would, I would strongly urge you to turn it not to potato mode, so that you can see it. I'm actually going to change mine so I can actually look at it a little bit better. It's super pretty, but it's huge, and you can warp around to these different pieces to get some different angles on it as you guys wish. We'll stick around for a moment.
I assume that CCP have changed the graphics which is used in this system over the years.
That is an excellent question that I do not have an answer to. I've only been out here a handful of times. So it looks the same to me from the last couple of times that I've been here, but I've only been here a few times in the last 5 or 6 years, so I don't have a good answer to that, man. I would assume the answer is yes over the years that they've updated the graphics, but I do not know that to be a fact.
Will the Lancers kill us if we try to go close to this wormhole?
Yeah.
They will.
Damn.
I mean, you can go around it and do all that kind of stuff for a limited period of time, but it's don't dilly dally around there because they will shoot you. Once you've had your screenshot time and you're okay and ready to go ahead and align to the outgate, and we'll go to the next one. Like I said, these next two are right here. These three are all in the same cluster. So somebody said in Fleet that they certainly have updated it. So there you go. Yes, it is different than it used to be. The lore said that it destroyed everything in the system. All the colonies and everything that were here were destroyed. Yeah, was this the first ever station? So yes, kind of. The first ever stations were in this system, but they were not these ones. These are a much later addition. In the lore, this is after basically all of the empires came to be. So the Galanti, the Amar, the Kaldari, and fuck, who did I just forget? Minmatar. Once those 4 empires resurrected themselves as actual empires, they started putting stuff in here. We are in a different galaxy, so lore-wise, the Eve wormhole took people from Earth to a different galaxy. For the Frontier one, I honestly, Viridia, I do not know the answer to that.
No, the other side of that wormhole is Earth.
It's supposed to be, yeah. According to the lore, the other side of this wormhole is supposed to be Earth.
Yeah. What CCP thought to do about Eve Frontier? At the first iteration, they thought to have Eve Frontier being colonized from the Eve Online galaxy. So it's set in our far future. No, I don't know. They rewrote it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I mean, I know it exists, but I have not tracked that. I'm not going to play it. I don't care. Eve takes up enough of my time anyways. All right, guys, once you're jolly good with New Eden, we're going to go to our next destination here. So, again, it's just going to be that next one, which is just Dead Point.
Dead End.
Dead End.
Thank you. So we'll go to Dead End, and we'll look at the monolith there.
Black Monolith, yeah.
Which is literally from, the 2001, 2010 Space Odyssey pair of movies. That's this. It's this. That's the monolith.
We're getting shot at by rats at the monolith.
What, seriously? There's rats at the monolith?
Yeah.
Shit. Orbit at 100, hit your prop mod.
3 cruisers.
We can take them.
If you've got guns, weapons, whatever, and you want to shoot the rats, I'm totally fine with that.
Mic check.
Yep, you're good.
Yeah, it felt like you stopped talking for a while, and I think I missed everything that was in New Eden.
Yeah, because I most definitely did not. I've been bloviating to everybody. But we're
But
in,
it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I know the lore.
yeah. I'll say we're in Dead End now, man. So we're at the monolith in Dead End.
We're ratting dead end.
Yeah, I mean technically we are ratting in Dead End, which is not a phrase I expected to say today. I said, if you want to get a chuckle, if you look at the description on the monolith, I'll just read it to you guys so you can see it. It literally says, "It's full of stars." That's it. That's the entire description for it.
Now, if you've ever seen the movie 2001, you'll get that.
If you haven't, why?
Yeah, I would say that's a really good question. If you guys have not seen the 2001, the 2010, they're both good. The 2001 is all this kind of stuff, but that's a fun space movie that did a really good job. It's 2001 Space Odyssey. Was that the 2010?
No, it's 2001.
Yeah, so I think it's just 2001.
We pretend that 2010 doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Does the monolith have any function or in the storyline of EVE Online?
No, it really doesn't. This was put in here just literally as an homage to 2001. Just because the story that I heard is that the devs just liked the movie, so they're like, "Fuck it, let's put it in and see." We'll put it into our game. That's, as far as I know, that's the only history behind it. They just liked it.
I mean, 24, almost 25 years ago, we could have had interplanetary space travel. If not that failed experiment.
Yeah. You need a predator and an alien systems. Nice.
There is a predator. It's called Fido.
Okay. According to the lore, he's not wrong with that, but that's not quite what I would call a predator. But I get you, man. All right, once you've got your pictures from our monolith, we'll go ahead and line to the out gate. We'll jump to the next one. It's just 2 jumps out. So we're going over to the Promised Land now. So once you've got that, go ahead and head over to the Promised Land. We'll do that one, and then we're going to make another trek back to HiSec.
The only monument I never managed to scan down is the Major Tom. The shuttle that moves every day.
I don't believe I ever did either.
Because it moves every day and it's incredibly difficult to scan down.
That's odd.
What's that?
No, Major Tom. That's odd.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like you jumped into the system and there was something weird going on. I'm like, what? What's happening? Okay, I got you.
The anomaly is called the Space Oddity.
It's a David Bowie reference.
Yeah,
It's a David Bowie reference.
This one I have seen.
Give me a second, guys. Here, I'm warping to it. So go ahead and warp to me now. I'm landed here with it. It's just a wormhole, but it's the special wormhole.
What's this?
Whole screen, jump, jump, jump. It's especially funny if you read the lore.
Yep.
So is there nothing there? There's no object to interact with?
Nope. Nope. It's literally just a wormhole that you can't do shit about.
But it has a customs office.
Oh, you can do PI.
Okay, I'm gonna reset the MOTD again. So we're gonna go back into HiSec. We're gonna go out to the Capsular Memorial. So again, if you cannot sit in HiSec like that, I'm gonna give you a destination that's on the far side. So I think everybody's gonna be okay, but I'm gonna do both here. So give me a second to reset that. Wow, there's not a great place to park before the next one there. Let me just ask this. Is anybody not going to be able to sit here in Molia with us at the memorial? Turns out these couple
Where?
of low sec systems are terrible. That's the next one. That's the memorial. So Exobin Fleet, if you cannot sit in HiSec at the memorial. Is everybody okay? All right, go ahead and free burn out there. This is the Capsuleer Memorial. So this is one that was, it's one of those really funny stories if it wasn't kind of so sad, as a lot of stories in EVE are. But the memorial began as a pause in HiSec, and it became a permanent memorial that if you go out, you can drop a can and you can name it to the name of a person, whether like a real person's name or their EVE character name. And CCP has set it so those cans don't expire like they normally would. And so this has been a permanent memorial to our fallen, right, to the people that we've lost over the years. So it's something that is a great thing to have, and it's just like the Sino vigils that we do. It's an awesome thing to have it with it, but it's a terrible thing that we need to do them. But that's what this is. This is the Capsular Memorials where we're headed next.
Yeah, there is a bit of lag when you were pinning that memorial. Just a tad.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff, a lot of cans and everything on that grid. Are all of our Silent Vigil people there? I doubt every single one of them is. Some of them are, but like I don't go out there when I coordinate one of the Silent Vigils myself, so I know some of them are, but are all of them? I doubt it, just because it's a trek to get out there to do it with them, and you've got to CCP doesn't. It's not like you can petition them to put a can there. You have to go and do it.
I think that Vargor shot himself.
That's what I was gonna say. Do you think that Parker driver just shit his
I
pants?
was going to see if you wanted to attack him.
We'll let him go. We've still got a lot of jumps. Yeah, Jay, there I agree. It shows the community that we have for each other.
Right. I can't think of another game that would do that or has done that.
I'm not aware
And
of
I mean,
another
I've been
one.
playing for 25 years, so
Yeah, I've been a gamer most of my life. I'm not aware of one that does, but I'll admit that over the last 16 years or so since I started playing Eve, I don't do any other MMOs or anything like that. I do, I've got some Steam games and stuff, but this is the only one.
yeah, why bother? I mean,
Well,
when
the
it's the
other
best
side
game
of it,
out there.
the other side of it, that it's easier for it to be done here than in other games is this is one of the only games that's single shard. Like WoW, there's like hundreds of different servers,
Yeah.
whereas Eve, it's everybody's on the same server.
Yeah,
No, that
yeah,
is
it
true.
absolutely does make a difference. I mean, it allows us to get the grudges that we carry for years and years, and to make friends for years and years. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's like I've moved a couple of times in my life across the U.S. and if I was playing one of the other shard ones, I would have been in different servers just because of where I was physically located.
Yeah.
And and with Eve, it doesn't matter. It's just like, okay, guys, I'm moving across country. I'll see you in a few days when I get everything set back up. It's like, cool. See you in a couple days.
I've got a guy that spends half his time in Thailand and half his time in London. So perfect.
Oh shit, that's a different.
Yeah, you want to talk time zones? Shit.
And that's the thing. In WoW, you wouldn't meet people from different parts of Europe or from Asia or Australia.
That's part of the draw of this game too, right? I've got friends now from all over the world, virtual or otherwise.
Yeah. My first player corp in what was then Deco was actually completely comprised of Aussies, except for me. I was the token American in their group. The rest of the corp was all Aussies.
They didn't make fun of you, did they?
The funniest part is I never saw them, because like I was going to work, they were going to bed. I was getting up, they were, going to work. It's
17 hours ahead of you, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I never talked to them. They were a really good group of guys. I wanted to stay with them, but I was by myself, like in Nullsack. It was just horribly fucking dull.
Yeah. Exactly. I've had people leave Corp because of it better time zone fitting.
Okay, let's see.
But then you run across in space, so.
Yeah. All right, let's see what we got. We got Anchorage, we got Mexico, Norway, okay, Canada, Saskatchewan, another Canada, Germany, Turkey, Switzerland, New Zealand, Italy, continental U.S., UK, another New Zealand, another continental U.S., Hungary, another U.S., Russia. I think you're the furthest east so far, depending on where you are in Russia, depending where our guy in Turkey is.
Same time zone as Turkey.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
So Western Russia, okay.
Yeah, so Netherlands, another continental U.S., Germany, another continental U.S., UK, another Germany. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, we've got people. There's a Denmark. So Santa, yes, I have. I'm thinking there's probably not anybody in this fleet because nobody said so, but I have. Seen him in Brazil. Seen him in Argentina. Almost any country that you can name that's got like an active internet connection, we probably got a nerd there. It's a pretty safe bet.
Hey, you guys going to FanFest?
I will not this year.
I went to the first one, and this is going to be my second one.
I've been a couple of times.
Okay.
It's great fun. It's if you guys ever get a chance to go to an IRL Eve meet, whether it's FanFest or they're doing one in your kind of local area, whatever that is for you, if you get a chance to do it, it's a blast. It's so much fun. I coordinate one here in Denver with all the Colorado nerds, and it's a great time. We just go to a bar and just go drinking.
I'm interested to see
Basically,
how much.
every meet is just, hey, we meet up, we go into a bar, and we start drinking until we're blacked out drunk.
Yeah, we don't quite do it that hard just because of how far most of us have to drive to get to ours. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, so my drive from my house to where we do our meetup, our southern meetup, is almost 100 kilometers each way.
I'm interested to see how different FanFest is now compared to the first one, because the first one was a mess. It was awesome,
year was
but
good.
it was a mess.
I was at some of the first ones. It was quite tiny compared to last year's FanFest.
Yeah, last year's was pretty good.
I went to the 10th anniversary one, and then like the 12th, I think, is what 10th anniversary, 12th anniversary, because I've been to a couple of them. So it's been a few years. I've been to a couple out in Vegas as well. But yeah, it's if you guys do ever get a chance to do it, it is a lot of fun to go. The town when you land because you'll land in Keflavik and then you'll have to get into Reykjavik, which is where CCP's headquarters and everything is. The people in Reykjavik, like they'll put Eve banners, like you'll be walking down the street and there's an Amar sigil in a window, and you're like, Jesus.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun. The town really goes hog wild for it.
I mean, CCP is not an insignificant part of Iceland GDP.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they used to be the largest single like private employer. I don't know if that's still true. It was years ago.
Still a healthy employer.
Yeah, they employ a lot of people in the town.
Frat has a Fortizar here.
Frat has Fortizars everywhere.
Okay, so you can warp directly
God.
to the in-game or in-space thing, or if you want to warp to me, you can do that as well. And then if you click on the individual cans here, you will see the names of people. The memorial itself is a pod with a capsuleer on it. It is supposed to have an animation and like fire a pulse, a beam. I have never actually seen it do it because there's not a timing thing that it will say, okay, in 9 minutes, the pulse will fire. It's supposed to do it on some regular interval. I sat here with Merc and the entire SNS crew one time. I think we were here for like 30 minutes or something ridiculous, and we never saw it. So it's supposed to do it, but I've never actually seen it. But if you just look at it, like I clicked on some random person's name, I have no idea who this is, but it says, "Here lies Nyloth." I don't know who Nyloth is, but somebody put this can out here for them. And if you click on all of them, you will see, things of that nature. We'll have something like that.
If you look directly up from the memorial, you'll see the original POS as well. It's still there. That was placed by T for the cemetery.
Yep. So this was originally anchored on a pause tower. It was killed by some dicks back in the day, and there was enough player backlash against them that CCP created this memorial. But you can still see the like medium pulse lasers. I've got one selected right now. You can see the medium pulse laser. The stick is still there. Yeah, the original tower is still there. But yeah, that's what this was. This was originally a pause tower that became the memorial, and then the um, whole setup for it. When it was destroyed, everybody got super pissed off about it, and CCP created the now memorial setup with it. But you can see all of the pieces around here.
Oh, I found a nominate.
Yeah, we did a run for SNS to bring the can out for nom noms. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of cans out here. This is like I said, this is one of those. It's a terrible thing that we have to have it, but it's so great that we do have it. That CCP has put in something like this to allow for um, these kinds of things. So these cans do not disappear. No, they within a certain distance, and I don't remember what that distance is. They will not disappear after the normal time like you would normally see. There's a little countdown timer and they'll vanish. These ones do not, they're permanent. I assume, Santa, that you're right that they would come out here. Probably more like someone might report it and say, "Hey, somebody's being a dick on the memorial with, you know, come join my corp or whatever," and CCP would deal with it. But I don't believe they truly actively monitor it in that sense. But I honestly don't know.
I had the wrong overview because I only saw like 20, and I was like, that seems like should be a lot more, but I went on the other one, and yeah, there's a million.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
I found one for Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know his was here. So if you look at the memorial itself, right, it looks like a Sino there, obviously, right? The Sino beacons is something that we've used as a memorial. The first Sino memorial was done for Vile-Rat. That the first like real time that it was actually done, and subsequently then over the next decade, it's been more than 10 years since he passed. The whole setup here of doing the Sinos for it. And if you look in there, you'll see a pod in the vertical beam of the light coming off along the z-axis of the Sino. That is supposed to pulse some kind of a light pulse beam thing. Like I said, we sat here one time. I've never actually seen it, but all the reports say that it does. And if you can zoom in on it properly with your camera, you'll probably have to get out of orbit mode into free float mode. You actually see humans on the outside of the pod.
That's amazing.
Oh, Concord's after somebody.
Ika, I do believe you're about to die. You might
Well,
want to.
that was a choice.
You might want to pop out of here, man.
I think it's too late.
It's too late. He's dead.
Tell me back.
Are you dying on a graveyard?
You shoot Vile Rats can? Or scram?
Did you shot the can by accident?
I don't know what's happened. Well, they just come bach bach. That's it. I'm dead.
All right, guys. The next one is quite a number of jumps from here. I'm going to reset the MOTD again, and we'll get heading out to the next one. I honestly don't know where the nearest market is from here, man.
Amar.
I would think it would be Amar, but
It should be like 4 jumps out or 5.
Yeah, you can go to Amara, but there's 4 targets camping.
Did somebody grab your stuff?
As long as you're getting in a frigate and everything like that, war targets generally are not going to be able to catch you. Just don't, again, diddle dally on the undock.
Oh, you didn't drop anything good anyway.
All right, there is our next destination. We're going to go out and see Steve. And like I said, I was not involved with that, but we have somebody who was there and going to tell us a story. So we will head out to see Steve. Yeah, this one's a pile of jumps here, guys. We gotta. I thought about taking us back out to like M2 to look at that, but that was recent enough in memory, and it added another like 40 jumps. So it's like I said, it was crazy. But yeah, we're gonna go out and see Steve. Then we're gonna make one more stop, and then we'll go home.
Oh, we get to go through Head GP, which used to be the most camped system in the game.
God, that place was fun. And
That
I
was
lived in Catch like 9 years ago. We were renting a system. I mean, Saturday evening was like just form a fleet and go to Head GP and just until we die.
Yeah, we'll go through the Kever's Head GP gate.
Maybe I should stop in a Geel and pick up one of my Macarials that's sitting there.
Drove by a rattlesnake earlier. Left out here somewhere.
Oh, I got so much crap lying around up here.
Isn't that nuts just scattered everywhere?
Yeah. For me, the big one is when they made the Sino changes, so you couldn't have them on noob ships anymore. I had noob ship Sinos just fucking everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I pull up my personal assets and I just skip over Podion because I don't want to look at and cry at all the stuff that's in asset safety there.
Yeah, I ended up when the other one that did is so funny is when they introduced faxes, right? So when they first made them, if your carrier had a triage module on it, they converted it to a fax. Like that downtime, if you had an Archon with a triage fitted to it, you got an Apostle. That's how they made them so that everybody would have them.
Yeah, happened to me.
Yeah, so because you had to, research all the BPOs and build them and do all that kind of stuff, and we're like, shit, there's going to be no capital fax reps for weeks while this is done. And CSP is like, no, we're just going to convert them. And when we lost our space in deck, I ended up with some stuff in one of the low-sec systems up there. I think it was Tartoken. But we were down in Delve, and I'm like, how much do I care about this triage, whatever? I think it was a Chimera, so I would have gotten a Minakawa out of it or something. And I'm like, nope, fuck it. And I just left it there. I just left the carrier up there. I'm like, it's too damn much trouble. Because this was back when fatigue was a real bitch. it's not bad now. This was kind of the Mark 1.5 version of it. It was terrible. It's like, nope, let's just stay in there. And that fax, whatever it was up there, stayed there for a long time. I think eventually I did sell it. Maybe in one of our deployments up to Tribute or something. I was like, oh, it's close enough. I'll go sell this.
Yeah, hang on.
Well, it's kind of related to the Steve story, but in Podion is about half the materials that were supposed to be in the first Nyx that were going to be with the first Titan when the first Titan got destroyed.
Still sitting on them stocks, eh?
Well, yeah, because the game, like the whole alliance collapsed.
Well, on our journey out there, we've got quite a number of jumps there. Why don't you tell us the story of Steve?
Okay, back in 2005, 2004, 2005, I joined the Alliance. I went to the first Fan Fest, met a guy there named Sivok. He was the CEO of a corporation called Celestial Frontier, which was the lead corporation in the Alliance Ascendant Frontier. ASCN at the time was the biggest by player count alliance in the game. We were loosely, well, I wouldn't even say loosely, but fairly closely aligned with Bob at the time. They were next to us in Period Basis area, and we were in Phaethobolus Esoteria down through Tenerifis. When CCP decided to bring stations, player-built stations into the game, ASCN was the first alliance to build a player-built station. Then using that area, and a lady named Caitlin from New Zealand was our industrial coordinator. Her and Sivok and a lot of other people did a lot of work and built Steve, the first Titan in the game. Now, since Bob's part of this story, a lot of people can start to see where this might be heading. After a campaign in the north that had just ended against the original Northern Coalition, Bob, we were coming back to Phaethobolus. Steve had been built. Bob, I guess, didn't like that Sivok had the first Titan in the game and used their dev contacts to find out where it was when Sivok logged off, and then attacked it before it had completely left the grid and destroyed it.
Damn.
This caused Sivok, who at the time was probably like up there with Kriba in how well known he was in the game, to basically leave the game. ASCN had a bit of a war going with Bob at the time over it, and it didn't last long. Like ASCN was a PvE for the most part alliance. I was one of the fleet commanders with the PvP side, but even a lot of those guys stopped logging in. When we lost Esoteria, the alliance basically just collapsed. And a lot of us just quit the game for years. And I came back a few years later, but like right now, I still have probably 200 ASCN players.
Hold for a second, guys. There is a bubble in SV5. You'll just have to burn out of it, but there is a bubble here. Sorry, go ahead. I just want to let everybody know there is a bubble here. You'll need to burn out of it to get to the bridge.
I'm about to jump in there, so I'll wait till I'm through before
I mean, system's totally blue, so it's all good, but there is a bubble on the gate. So.
Oh, okay. Basically, the whole thing with the devs at the time, this also kind of falls back to the whole, and this is where it all went to shit for Bob, when it came out that they were getting preferential treatment on the T2 BPO distribution from the research agents. Yeah, the T2 seating basically screwed everybody.
Yeah, that was none of the T20 incident. or the T20 scandal. It's got a couple of names.
That's where that big discovery was made, and that's when it also came out that the reason they'd been able to get to Steve was because of the devs, or a dev.
Damn.
And that's when the whole CSM was founded. Over all that bullshit.
Yeah, the T20 scandal is what caused the creation of the CSM. For those of you who don't know, what he just described is why the CSM exists. It was
We
created
need to
in
improve
response-
relations.
Yeah, it was created in response to that.
But it didn't bring the Titan back, and I've, like I was saying, I have like 200 and something people on my friends list, notification list from my ASCN days, and I've seen one of them since I came back and joined Goons back in, what was it, July?
So let me tell you,
Yeah.
the way that those watch lists work have been changed. So if they do not have you on their friends list, you will not see them online. It has to be a mutual thing.
Oh, really? It never used to be that way.
They
Yeah, they
changed it because we were using it to scout people. So it was switched. You have to have them mutual friends list for it.
Yeah, we used to do that too.
Gargons.
Yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, back in the day, what you would do is if you had somebody that you didn't like, whoever it was, usually it was like hostile FCs or hunters.
Super capital pilots.
God damn it. There is a saber with a stop bubble in HY attack. That the Blood Raiders are fucking up. Oh, that's classic.
Also, for the guy that was in ASCN, I know because they told me some of the guy that were with you now they are in STK in it.
Some of them, one of the the corps apparently, Thunderwolf and Goons, used to be an ASCN corp under a different name.
Oh no, they are the same corp that they told me basically the same story you told me about. They were on the grid when Steve died, and yeah, they are in it now.
No, I mean in Goons is another old ASCN corp. They're now called Thunderwolf. Different corp than the one that's in it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that because I came across a guy that was in CLS with me back in the day, who's now a member of Thunderwolf. He's the only person from back then that's messaged me since I came back. He saw me in Beehive one day.
Yeah, that's how that happens. See him in space somewhere.
Oh, the boat just caught a Brave fleet.
Yeah, there is a lot of lag in V3, in tie-dye in V3.
What's that
Yeah.
Vargas doing? There's a heretic in V-3 bubbling the gate.
Yeah, he's doing slow bubbles. I guess Brave must be doing something. There's like 500 of them in the other system, so.
Yeah, there is like a couple of Harbingers and Neos here that warped to AX dot.
I know we were literally right in the middle of a story when those bubbles jacked us up, and I don't even remember what we were talking about now.
The creation of the CSM.
Oh yeah. So the T20 scandal created the modern CSM with it, because primarily of the T2 BPOs. Now, the Steve thing, yeah, but it was the T2 BPOs that hacked off like the high sec puppies.
Yeah,
that's what pushed them.
It was the T2 BPO thing that, and all the drama that went on around it, that is how we found out that the devs helped them get Steve. But yeah, it was the T2 thing because like I have 5 T2 BPOs and all I ever got was shitty ammo and crap like that. And the guys in Bob were getting like all the ships and like the expanded cargo hold modules, which at the time was the biggest moneymaker, was the expanded cargo hold 2.
Yeah, because you had to mine with normal lasers, no mining ships.
Yeah, they didn't. Well, I mean, they existed, but they were crazy expensive.
I remember Apocalypse mining quite well.
Yeah, my first mining ship was a Tristan. It's actually a Galanti frigate. Tristan was my first mining ship, and then I got because it could, you could put lasers on it. Then I used a Catalyst.
And ironically, if you're an alpha now, the best mining ship is an Avenge and Epoch.
Well, for that first station, the first player-built station, a lot of that was mined with APOC fleets.
Yeah. So again, for you guys who don't remember these, the stations he's talking about are the equivalent of the NPC stations. These were the old outposts. The faction forts are the modern versions of those old outposts. They were converted into those faction forts. So the old Dyson Sphere and 1DQ, all of those old faction forts are the previous stations, the original player-built NPC-like stations for them. And they were called outposts. The formal name was an outpost to them, but they were the player-built stations. There were 4 of those old stations. You had the Amar ones, which were used for production. The Caldari were used for research. The Minmatar was the refining one, and then the Galanti one was the office tower. And that's what you use. So if you wanted, and you could only put 1 in every system, so you had to pick. Okay, well, I want to be able to do research. Okay, you put a Caldari outpost, and then you couldn't remove them. Once they were put down, they stayed. They could be conquered. You could change ownership, but you could not destroy them and you could not remove them.
But we also did have real NPC stations like all over Faith of Allis, like VNGJU, which is where a lot of my asset safety stuff had an NPC station in it. But it was owned by the Alliance. Like, it was weird. You had
That
to
was
conquer it.
before the conquerable ones, before the outposts.
But they were
This kinda job
conquerable.
one.
Nobody could dock there unless they had standing with the Alliance, but it was indestructible.
So Walter, you direct a question. How much ISK was lost from re-rigging the Imperium? I mean, technically the answer is 0 because we didn't. The CCP made a thing in Delve, right, when we evacuated 1DQ, when we left there, that you could remove the rigs from structures without penalty. So if the rig came from that point, we were able to pull all those rigs and it cost nothing. When we moved from UALX, those rigs did have to be destroyed. So it depends on which situation you're talking about. The really insanely expensive T2 rigs that we put in to the Satoyo in CJ, that came from 1DQ. When we moved to Utah Q and then to UALX, we did not use those rigs. We kept them because we knew that wasn't going to be a permanent home in UALX. We weren't sure when we were moving or exactly where, but we knew we were going to stay. But we rigged the ones in CJ specifically because it's the forever home. Okay, so I know a lot of you guys got stopped and delayed on those bubbles. Once you get into C9N, we're going to go out to Steve. What the hell? Why does that not warp me? Apparently I didn't click
Of
the
course
warp
there's
button.
racks.
Oh, there are
There's-
NPCs on Steam.
Yeah, we got rats again.
That's funny. So
It's
sorry.
positive.
Sorry, what was that?
It's positive.
Oh yeah. I saw the answer. So Walter, back to your original question on that. It depends on which piece. For the Alliance, the answer is basically 0, simply because we did not rig most of those structures in ULX. We did a few of them, but a lot of them we sold to Brave or to other allies as we switched space to it. So we
Wait,
were in C9N TAC CC.
how much are these stupid expensive Tech 2 Satoya rigs?
The rigs
Actually,
on them, it's
Very.
really hard to price them out because nobody really sells them on the market. They're in the neighborhood of about 150 to 200 billion.
each?
Yeah, more or less. Like I said, it's really hard to price those out because the inputs on them fluctuate in their price, and nobody really sells these kinds of rigs. But yeah, it's in that neighborhood for them. I don't remember what the value was when Kaz and I sat down and looked at it one day. Yeah, so these were donated by Weaselor. He was one of the finance directors back in the day for GSF, which is why the research Satoyu carries his name. He built that, bought it, donated it, did all of those things. That's why it's got his name on it. And so he produced those rigs and then donated them to the Alliance. So, I mean, technically, the answer is 0. They cost nothing for us because he donated them to it. But yeah, they're incredibly expensive. Kaz and I were talking about it, and we came up with 3 options. Option 1 was to sell them, take them to JITA and sell them. Option number 2 was to hold them in reserve for something else. And option number 3 was to rig our structures so that you all would have some cool shit. Nobody really liked the idea of just holding them. We all kind of thought that was stupid. Taking them to JITA, there's only a handful of people who could afford to buy them. I mean, they're just incredibly expensive. And so we decided, fuck it, let's give the guys, a reward for moving 3 times in a year. And so we rigged those. You guys remember we did the big party with it where we're like, okay, we're going to rig these because there was no research active at the time. And so for about an hour, the research index in CJ with those rigs was 0 because we weren't allowing anybody to do any research in it prior to putting those rigs in. And then we did a big party, I think after the firesides when we did that. I think that's right.
Yes, and then the research index went to shit in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it went crazy. But if you had like cap BPOs or any any crazy thing like that, that's when people were doing that because you could literally get a 0% index system, and it will never be that way again. Not as long as goons are living in CJ. Yeah, was this the first Titan? There's a lot of debate on who was the first Titan killed. There's another one that was the first like contested Titan, and then this one was kind of ambushed, and so you hear people debating which one was the first. So
No,
yes,
CCP said that this is the first Titan that died.
yeah, it was not really it's like, was it the first one that was contested or the first one killed? And that's the difference that people debate on.
I think its value is because it was first built and then it died in an ambush.
Yeah, so it was not like contested, like there was not a big throwdown brawl over this, and so that's why some people say no, it wasn't, because it has the shady history of how it happened.
Yeah, because it didn't die in a legit fight. It died to basically an exploit at the time.
Also, Titans were so fucking overpowered back in the day.
Yeah, because this is the time when they had AoE doomsdays that could be fired through Sinos.
It still sounds like a joke.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like, this is the horrible thing that you tell a newbie to scare them. I mean, I guess that's kind of true because they don't exist anymore, but they were real. You could act. So Doomsdays, for those guys who don't know, were basically a giant ass smart bomb, effectively, and you could fire them through a Sino and just fucking smash a fleet. And they were more powerful too. You would annihilate a subcat fleet with just like one of them.
Yeah, they didn't discriminate on damage. They would do this damage to a frigate, shuttle, battleship, whatever. It just nuked everything in its area of effect.
Yeah, if you zoom in on that, you will see fires on the decks and stuff like that. Yeah, that's again, they've done a really fun job with this.
They actually did some kind of update on this, because the first time I came out here to see it back in like 2009-ish, it was just like a pile of rubble.
Yeah, they did a big graphics pass on a lot of these things a few years ago. I don't remember when, but between 5 and 10 years ago. So, yeah, they did a big graphics update for these guys.
Next thing you know, Rogue Drones picks this up and makes them like drone
Oh, is it
titans.
resurrected? No, that would be hilarious.
Rogue Titan.
Were the Titan models much bigger back in the day? They haven't really changed. The model itself hasn't really changed. When they do the graphical update stuff, they do change a little bit, but not really. They're still on the order of 15 kilometers bow to stern, depending on which one you're looking at. They're a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, etc. Okay, we've got one more stop to make, and then we're going to head home. We're going to go to what was at the time the largest super capital engagement ever. M2 eclipsed it. It's not too far from our home, so we're going to head up to BTACR. I'm going to update the MOTD here. All right, let's go ahead, everybody align to the out gate, which is XTAC 7. All right, go ahead and free burn out the BTACR. So BTACR was an engagement I was involved in. Not right when it kicked off. I was at work just because of, work. But I was involved in it in the later stages. The story that has come through over the years is that the SOV bill for it was not paid. The guys who controlled the system swear that the button was clicked. They swear that they had money in the wallet. CCP swears one of those two things is not true. We don't know. The SOV bill was not paid, so SOV dropped in the system. This was an old outpost system. So SOV dropped into it, and that was the problem. And then our guys just basically bum rushed it with bubbles. The old boot carriers, boot dummies was the flavor of the day. And so this is when carriers could still use they could still use drones. And so you would roll up with a carrier and you'd kick out between usually it's about 10 sentry drones for the boot configuration, depending on your skills and your fits and all that kind of stuff, but it's usually at least 10. You could dead zone the station too. So if you controlled the station, as was mentioned earlier, I shouldn't say station, this is an outpost. It was an outpost. You could control who docked in it. And so what happened when we took control of the BTAC-R outpost, it was locked down so that no one could dock in it. We couldn't dock in it. It was completely locked down. We didn't want to have blue spies, funneling shit out and stuff like that. So it was locked down to like Mittens. It was put in a corp that like he had control of, and that was it. Or maybe one other person, but it was a very small number. And they just removed all the docking access except for like Mittens and maybe one other person. And we're just like, all right, you can leave, but you can't dock back up. Once we had taken control of it, but that was after the Hell Camp ended. And so the Hell Camp, right? They still have control of the outpost. And if you undocked, what we would do is you would have one fast locking frigate, usually an interceptor, sitting right on the undock with target painters. And you would have 255, remember a fleet holds 256 people. You have 255 either boot carriers or boot dummies with sentries out linked to this interceptor. They were called a drone bunny. And whatever that interceptor fired upon or did any offensive action, like a target painter, all of those drones would shoot. And that was the old boot dummy and boot carrier fleets with a drone bunny. They were literally called drone bunnies. So imagine 255 carriers, each deploying 10 sentries. You are not going to survive that. Like, they would put them out at a distance, so transversal didn't really matter. Like, you undock, you come out of the outpost, and no matter where you're coming out from, and the undocks were much, much smaller, much tighter configuration than modern citadels, they had you. Those drones would just smash you. You couldn't get enough transversal to avoid them. And they would just fuck up a fleet. So assuming that the fleet that was on that undock had critical mass, you couldn't bring out anything, because remember, supers and titans could not dock in these outposts. You brought out a carrier, it died. Dreadnought, it died. Facts didn't exist then. So carriers and dreadnoughts, you undocked them, they died. Frigates, they died. Interceptors might be able to get away because they were bubble immune back then. That was about it. Not only did we camp the BTAC-R outpost itself forever, it was just an ungodly long camp. Weeks this camp went on. I don't think it was 30 days, but I think it was close to that. It was like 29 days or some shit like that. It was forever. And we eventually took control of the outpost. We dead zoned it, as Heidi said in there, so that no one could dock in there and get it. And that's what kicked it off. So it was the largest Titan engagement in EVE's history until M2. The only Titan engagement in EVE's history that's larger than BTAC-R is M2.
X-47, was it larger than BTAC-R?
They were about the same size. I think X-47 was a little smaller. I'd have to look at the numbers. In terms of number of people, I think X-47 was bigger, but the number of Titans died, I think BTAC-R was more.
Oh.
Yeah, I think X-47 had like 1,000 people more, but it was more.
Yeah, we had a lot of subcaps.
And also about this Hell Camp, I just want to mention that that's how you get like drone assistance nerfed to first 50 drones. Grigons.
Yeah, the old drone bunnies were super common in ratting and all that kind of stuff for years, and then they got nerfed not too long after BTAC-R. Because I swear to God, guys, you'd have one dude with a insta-locking interceptor and a target painter, and 255 carriers or dummies. They're usually in separate fleets. And what you would do literally is you would wake up in the morning, you'd log in your alt. Again, you could have pauses, but there were no citadels here. You'd warp into the camp, you'd kick out your sentries, drone bunny them, and you'd go to work. And you'd get home and you'd have 10, 15, 20, 50 kills, depending on how good of a day it was, right? Or you were at fucking work. Because you just needed whoever the drone bunny was to be active. And you just hoped that guy didn't crash. Because you would have to manually reassign all the drones.
Reassign them, yeah.
But yeah, that's what we used to do.
Oh, sorry, there is a Stiletto and Heretic in PH tag. It just jumped in. Just be careful.
Okay. Right,
No
everybody-
Babos, so now.
Yep. Everybody look at that when you jump in.
Stiletto just jumped to PH.
The Heretic cloaked in a PH tag on the B9E gate.
Yeah,
Like there was a
Stiletto's
Brutix
just
that
walked
just
off. Yeah, when you come through, if you get caught in the bubble, guys, just burn out or shoot him, whatever. But yeah, BTAC-R was
Navy. On the other side of that gate.
it's a Brutix.
I'll say he must have cross jumped with me because I didn't see him.
He's going the same direction as us. Or through that gate at least.
Okay, he must be behind me then. I must be ahead of you guys. But BTAC-R was also an engagement that lasted like downtime to downtime kind of a thing. On our side, the principal person in command of it was a guy named Lazarus. Lazarus Telraven. So if you go to the FanFest videos of that year, because BTAC-R was before FanFest, and not too long before, it was pretty close to FanFest. So Laz gave a talk at FanFest about BTAC-R, and it had just happened. So he's got screenshots and everything from his talk there that it's really funny. If you go and find the old video on YouTube with it, he's talking about the engagement, and it had just happened a couple of weeks before that. I am spacing on the date. Maybe they'll have it in here. I think that was 2013. Because I think that was for the 10th anniversary, but it might have been 2015. I honestly just don't remember. Some of these dates blend together after a while. I've been doing this a long time. I kind of forget some of these dates. And then when you get into the system, it is at the very bottom. It's Titan, basically Titan Massacre is the name of the object.
Titanomachy. Somebody already killed all the rats.
For once, we don't have to do it ourselves. Doesn't have the date on it, but if you click the show info on the object, it actually shows you the list of everybody whose Titan died.
Oh, Zungen is here.
Yeah, I was going to point out Zungen is actually there too, all at the bottom.
I remember Shrike.
Yep, that was Sir Molly's alt, if I'm remembering that right.
Yep. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Shrek was not the first. I remember a video that someone posted. There's the recording for when Goose killed it. Not in BTAC-R, that was his first title loss. When Interdictors came in the game.
Yep. Yeah, there's a video of like bump Shrike, all DPS on Shrike. Yeah, I've seen that video too. Quality on it's terrible because it's from so many years ago, but yeah, I've seen that video as well.
You know what videos I've been trying to find since I came back, and I can't find them anywhere online, is the very old Mercenary Coalition videos that Celine made with the Nightwish music.
Wow, I haven't seen those in a long time. I know
That
what you're
probably
talking
they got took down because of automatic copyright strike.
Yeah, I bet it's the DCMA or whatever the fuck that's called. Because of the music, I agree. Kuno, I'm like 100%.
Celine might have taken those off the YouTube because he got work in CCP.
It's possible, yeah.
But for back then, the Mercenary Coalition videos were the best videos.
Yeah, one of my favorites is it's an old Rooks and Kings video when they did the fake pause shield. That video.
Oh
was just like,
yeah.
oh my god.
That that you can still do that kind of shit.
You can kind of, but they've changed the colors on them, so it's not as easy to do. So for
true.
Yeah, so for you guys who are not aware of this, what they did is back at this point in time, interdictor bubbles, heavy interdictor bubbles, and pause shields were the exact same color. They were this bluish shade of blue. And so what they did is they put a stick out, put a pause out, and they put a Hictor right on it and raised the Hictor bubble. And then they put a fleet inside. So when an enemy fleet got there, they thought they were safe because if you're inside a pause, you cannot fire out. You just can't do it. It won't let you. You can't lock onto a target and fire out of a pause shield. But they weren't in a pause shield. They were in a Hictor bubble. And so they did fire out and just smash this enemy fleet who's like, what the hell? They thought it was like a exploit and, they were just super pissed. When it came out to, nope, it was just the same color. Now they're different colors, like pause shields and hick bubbles and dictor bubbles. One's blue, one's green, and one's kind of a red-orange.
Yep.
And that became a thing because of that Rooks and Kings incident. Those colors were changed following that.
Amazing. I love that story.
Yeah, and that video, like I've gone up against Rooks and Kings, and it did not go well. We got our asses handed to us. Not there. It was a totally separate thing. I've seen the video from.
I
When
bet
did
they
it.
were pissed.
Yeah, I've seen the video from when Rooks and Kings did it to attacked us, and I was just like, shit. I was in Fatal Ascension at the time. We were living up in Cloudring, and we were doing a logistics operation. I was in a fast tackle ship, and I was designated as the scout to sit on the high sec side of this gate where our freighters were coming from. Well, they spotted our freighters, and then they ambushed them literally on the other side of the gate and smashed them all. It was bad. I don't remember how many they got. 10, 15 freighters worth of stuff. It was a lot. Oh, Rooks and King is active in E-Frontier. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of them also migrated to the Chinese server.
Oh, that's interesting. The other really famous one is when they discovered, so Rooks and Kings are the ones who figured this out, that the wormhole guys and the capital escalation wormholes, these are C5 and C6s, had figured out it was classified as an exploit subsequently, it wasn't at the time, that there was a error in CCP's calculation that if you could target disrupt a ship enough, you could get its tracking number to go negative. And if it went negative, Eve's servers didn't know how to process that and reset the value from negative to infinity. And so these guys were using like railguns and beam lasers and hitting frigates at like 200 kilometers with them from dreadnoughts and shit like that. And it was
no blasters with infinity tracking. It was with the old grid, 250 kilometer grid, so they could hit with a catalyst. You could hit at 250 kilometers in a Wolf-Rayet wormhole with diffaction dampeners in specific wormholes at max DPS with the tracking of a frigate.
Yeah, it was nuts.
nuts. But you had to be in a specific wormhole. I don't remember was it Cataclysm? I think maybe.
No, in a specific Wolf Rajat wormhole work, only in one. But these guys just lived there and CCP could not change the code. So they removed the modules.
Yeah, it was nuts. But they found it because they killed one of them, and they're like, why is his buddy target disrupting him? What the hell? Is that a doomsday effect in space? You mean the trails that are above it? Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's just
the Skyhook.
Skyhook. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said about questionable vapor structure anchoring. Like, why would you put Sotoy here and Tatara?
I have no idea. All right, guys, this is the last one I had on our list for today. So we're gonna head back home. So I will update the MOTD and everything there for it, but we're just gonna head back to CJ. So thanks for coming out. I hope you guys had a good time with the sites. I really wanted to take you guys to more. I had about 10 of them on my list, but oh, there's the rats. Oh, they're like 4,000 clicks off. Whatever. But it really was like 400 jumps the first plan I threw into my route planner. I'm like, nobody's going to do that. And shameless plug, the Meet the Directors Gate Camp that we did yesterday for literally like 7 hours. I did post all of those videos. I mentioned this at the beginning, but I did post all of those. If you missed any of it, they're in roughly 2-hour chunks, just because of trying to get them reasonably sized to post. So they're all in there. I linked them in the MOTD. You guys can free burn back home and then drop the fleet whenever you get there. Have a good rest of your day/weekend. I am going to do some fireworks Happy New Year's on New Year's Eve. I've got one set for you filthy Euros, and then one set for the filthy Americans. So I'll do
Excellent.
2 of those. It's our classic thing that we do. So fireworks on the CJ on dock. Comms are still open if you guys want to stick around. Happy to do that with you. And otherwise, have a good rest of your day and weekend and all those things.
You do the same. Thanks for the fleet.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ranger. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for your
Thanks,
time, Ranger.
There was a question I saw here and I missed it. Is the double web instant warp still a thing? Sherty, hope I pronounced your name right. Yes, you still can do that. It kind of, I mean, it's not an instant warp thing because of the way server ticks work, but yes, you still can do that.
Great way to move a freighter around.
Yeah, it's usually used with freighters.
I think there was a thing about negative velocity.
Yeah, you have to be careful how you do it. It's something that you've got to really be like actual skilled at, not like an in-game skill that you train up, just over time, but just doing it a couple of times to get used to how you do it. When I usually do it, I use Fed Navy webs, usually on something like a Rapier, and it works fantastically well. In fact, you can usually get away with just using one web on a Rapier because of the bonuses, but yes, you can do it. And for those of you who don't know, the way that this works is your warp is based on a % of your maximum normal space
speed, right? So if you initiate the warp and then your ship slows down its maximum amount to below that threshold, you can kick over that line and you'll instantly go into warp.
It's the same reason the micro warp drive trick works in the Maelstrom fleets.
Yep, it's the exact same principle.
You guys will see with carriers it works like that.
You can do it with
Wait.
carriers too.
I heard about something like something similar to the tracking thing when you just I don't remember detail because it was like long time when I heard about it, but you can actually do something about getting negative velocity, like, and some benefit from it.
You cannot do that anymore for sure.
So when you bring any of those numbers into the negatives, it tends to break CCP's calculations. So a lot of times they put like hard codes in there to prevent you from doing that. The old slippery Pete's were like that. Basically what you would do is the way you scan down a ship, right? It's your skills, yes, against their signature radius. And so if your scan resolution versus their signature radius, it's those two numbers, how they compare. So if you can get your signature radius small enough, they cannot scan you down. That's how the old slippery Pete's used to work, the old T3Cs. They were Tengus. Or rail goose is what a lot of people call them, but we usually call them slippery Pete's. But what you do is you put an ECCM onto the ship, and once that got down small enough, they could not scan you down. Even with virtue probes, you could not be probed down. And so CCP declared that an exploit, kinda. Basically what they did is they put a bottom limit on what that number could be. So virtue probers could still scan them down, but most regular probers could not. So the way we countered that is we usually had a Black Hand operative in the fleet who would simply disable their ECCM on their hull so we could scan them down and then you just smash the rest of the fleet. But the kill mail doesn't show whether the module's online or not. It shows whether it's fitted. And that's how we got away with that for our Black Hand operatives.
Yeah, you can also go over 100% shield resistance in some wormholes, and
No,
that will.
It stops at 99.
You can overheat your hardeners on a bastard, and what it gets you, you will explode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's actually pretty clever for CCP. I haven't seen that one.
I'm pretty sure it's been fixed a long time ago. It's been a long-standing thing that used to happen. Pretty sure she used to be hard codes at 99 now. You can't actually go over with the panic on the Rorqual over 100 either, because that's would make your ship explode. That's why panics actually aren't perfectly invulnerable. They're just so vulnerable it's hard to ship through, because if they made it so you went over to 100, you would die.